I saw someone ask on a forum recently how to hike the Appalachian Trail in less than 100 days. Now in 2016, I hiked the Appalachian Trail in 91 days. I know, slightly off my mark, but still pretty good for a 2,200 mile trail. Now doing this, or repeating this, in 90 days and less is a very realistic and attainable goal, but you will have to absolutely resign yourself to it, because there's not a lot of wiggle room in there. You do, after all, have to average 24 miles a day, every day, for 3 months straight. Why would you want to do this? Something I always try and keep in mind is everyone hikes for different reasons, has different goals, and really only you know exactly why you do it, or exactly why you enjoy it, or maybe you don't even know, but just deep down, that is what makes you happy and what you enjoy. However, I do have a few tangible reasons as to why you would want to do this. First, I believe it's a cheaper way to do the trail. Given you're out there for less time, you're going to spend less time in towns, you're going to buy less food, and thus spend less money. Now, being out there for a certain amount of time also means you get to cherry pick the best seasons. For me, I started SOUTHBOUND in late August, and I didn't experience really any mosquitoes, no ticks, and for almost the entire trail, I saw fall colors. I could just hike exactly the time frame that I really truly wanted. Or maybe you just want an alternate experience. Very similar, but in like an alternate universe kind of way. Now, this information may not be for everyone, but I do think it's really interesting to see how one world lives when it's maybe a little bit different from the norm. And honestly, a lot of the tips I'm about to give can be applied to just about any hiker in a lot of different situations. But something to note is I'm really going to talk about more so the reality of this and not sugarcoat it too much, or not really bring up too much more of the upsides of it. Because going into this, it's important that you kind of know what you're in for. So number one, going SOUTHBOUND or southbound was absolutely the right decision for me. In the beginning, you want to start off slow. Starting off with the hardest two states first may sound kind of counterintuitive, but I think it actually works out great, because the second you hit Vermont, it is going to be noticeably easier the entire rest of the way south. Now, regardless of direction, I would start off slow anyway. Going northbound and having hiked 2,000 miles and then hitting the whites of New Hampshire and southern Maine, that would be very tough for me mentally. Just starting off southbound and knowing that after that first like 300, 350 miles, it's going to be noticeably easier the rest of the way was a huge morale boost for me, and just really, really good for my mental state, which in a lot of ways is a lot more important than physical state. So southbound is totally my recommendation. Now, in the same realms of starting off slow, I recommend doing a shorter trail before you even hike the Appalachian Trail, maybe a month in advance. It's maybe something that's 200 miles, 300 miles. This is just going to allow you to strengthen, test your gear, and it's really going to help you avoid injury. You know, it's basically letting you get your trail legs before you even start the main course. In the first couple weeks of a hike is when you're most prone to injury. To get out there and train and have this real field experience is a very, very smart thing. Now, I know doing a 200-mile trail just isn't feasible for a lot of folks before they set off on a 2,000-mile trail. The same sentiment rings true. Just to get out as frequently as you can before you leave, because ultimately it's really going to help you avoid injuries, and it's really going to do a lot in regards to your skills and your confidence and your just general readiness. No amount of planning can truly make up for actually getting out there. Now, I didn't stay in towns long. While most are taking zeros, you're going to be needing to get in town, get all your food, and to get out in that same day. This sounds a lot easier than it actually is, because it's very, very easy to get trapped by the luxuries of town. And really, I think this is the real trick in a fast hike, is towns and how efficient you can be with them. Because while everyone else you know, everyone else you've been hiking near, they're going to be taking a zero, maybe even a double zero, maybe even more, and you will pretty much be relegated to getting in and getting out. So there are a lot of times where this cannot be fun at all. And honestly, this is where I struggled the most. I took 14 zeros included in my 91-day thru hike. I had to average a lot more miles a day to achieve what I had wanted to achieve. This would have been so much easier if I just didn't stay in these towns. So it's incredibly easy to get trapped. But always remember that you love hiking, and that's why you're out here doing this. You know, are you out here to be in the towns, or are you out there to go hiking? And that's something I always tried to keep in mind. However, your body will need rest, so please don't feel bad about taking zeros or taking short days or anything like that, because honestly, that could be a recipe for disaster as well. So it's just finding that balance of, do I really need rest, listening to your body, and acting accordingly. Now, as I went, I set little goals for myself. I wanted to do Vermont in 5 days, the 100-mile wilderness in 3, the Smoky Mountains in 2, Georgia in 2, and of course, in between each and every town, knowing exactly where I was, exactly where I was going, and how long that was going to take. Don't think about the end. Just think of this as many little section hikes, and you're just doing piece by piece by piece, and you're only focusing on one piece at a time. Take notes. As I was walking, I was constantly writing future me, letters, and little lists, things I want to do when I finish the trail, hobbies I want to get into, jobs I'm interested, and of course, most importantly, things I need to be thinking about when I'm hiking, things I need to be thinking about when I get to that next town, tasks that are important for me to do when I get to that next town, hopefully increasing my efficiency when I do get there. I immediately know, okay, I have this and this and this that I need to do, instead of getting there and trying my hardest to remember what was that thing I'd thought of 3 days ago that I really, really need. Or of course, as you go, you learn a lot about yourself, about the trail. So writing down personal tips for yourself, how to make the most out of every day, how to be the best version of you. Because you have a lot of time to think out there, you might as well use it. Actively making myself think of that stuff really, really helped me a lot. Now, night hiking was something I did a lot of. Not every single day did I wake up at the crack of dawn and have the fastest of all days. You know, a lot of times I'd wake up late and I'd walk slow. Just to get that extra 2 to 4 to 6 miles every evening was really beneficial for me personally. Now, I enjoyed this and I considered it bonus. Even years later, I still do about an hour to 2 hours extra every night when I'm hiking. You know, just because I've kind of grown to enjoy it. Sometimes it can be incredibly boring, so of course, having podcasts to listen to or music or audiobooks really makes those hours after dark go by so much faster. Because a lot of nights, it will literally be mind-numbing to be hiking an extra hour after dark when you really want to just be laying down. Now, much like night hiking, and frankly even better than night hiking, is taking advantage of the morning hours. Rising before the sun is the best thing you can do for yourself, for your miles, and for your day. Even if you walk slow, like me, when you get up that early, you'll still easily get your 20 miles in, but you won't feel rushed at all. Whereas the days I wake up late, I feel really rushed all day just to get those miles in. There are only so many hours in the day, so being present and walking for all of them is very important for a task like this. Hike at a pace you can actually maintain. I personally walk pretty slow. That is a pace that I can maintain. I can walk that pace all day without having to take any breaks or very minimal amount of breaks. If I were to go faster, say even 3 miles per hour, I'm gonna wind up taking a lot more breaks, and in general, I'm gonna feel a lot worse. Whereas if I just went a little bit slower, I would probably get more miles and be more happy, more comfortable, and of course, less prone to injury. So going at a pace that you can really sustain is important. Hiking longer is much more important than hiking faster. If you can do both, great, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now, my game was always to catch up to the next hiker. And then once I did, I would try and catch up to the next hiker, and so on and so forth for 2,200 miles. I didn't really know these people, but there's always someone ahead of you. And for me, that was a really great thing to just know that, and to always have a little goal in my head for the day, a little goal in my head for the hour, and all the while you're meeting the entire class of your year on the Appalachian Trail. Now at your pace, there will be a lot of people you only see once. Actually, most people you will only see once. There probably won't be a trail family for you, and you will probably spend the entire 3 months hiking alone. This is not for everybody, and it is very commonly the biggest complaint I see from others doing this type of thing is just the loneliness. Even for me, I enjoy being alone, and I enjoy hiking solo the most. You know, it's still a very hard aspect of doing this type of thing. Leaving a cool group of people or a cool person will be incredibly hard at times, and you will almost certainly experience that. But as always, get a big smile on your face and remember what you're doing and why you're out there. Now you may find others that are going at your pace or who are going quicker, but always keep in mind just how easy it is to get sidetracked. Now this may sound obvious to some. Lighten your backpack. With newer, lighter, more durable materials on the market, with more resources than ever before online, it is very easy to have a backpack that is both safe and comfortable and under 10 pounds for even a thru hike like the Appalachian Trail. This is actually my backpack from the Appalachian Trail. This exact one, basically all of this gear in it. As you can imagine, it was very comfortable and made things a lot easier for me. Now, even in a photo like this from 1968, people were hiking the Appalachian Trail with sub 15-pound packs. And here's his pack list, so you can look at every item he carried. Your focus is going to be on hiking more so than camping. So certain luxuries and certain items can be left behind in order to make the hiking more comfortable and stress-free on your body. The stress of a deadline can be a lot. So for something like this, consistency is very much so key. It's much better to just do your 20 miles, do your 24 miles consistently than to do a 40 followed by a 10, followed by a 30, followed by a 15, you know, and constantly feeling like you're behind and you need to catch up. Now, I may frame a lot of this stuff as being negative, and I think that's because a lot of people just wouldn't really enjoy this type of hike, and I can see exactly why. However, I really wouldn't have had my hike any other way, and if I were to do the AT again, I would truly be going for under 90. I truly didn't feel like I missed out on anything that I would have wanted, and really I got the exact experience I sought out. There is a growing community of folks who are trying to go lighter and go faster. So you may find friends, you know, you may have a trail family out there, unlike me, who spent 3 months not hiking with anyone else for more than a couple of hours. I think it's very important to just talk about the reality of this type of a hike, or what the reality may be for you, as it was for me. As always, before you begin the AT, months and months in advance, be training, and then training some more. You know, get used to your gear in the worst conditions you can possibly find at home, because over the course of 3 months, you're gonna run into some really bad conditions. It's much better to learn near home than it is on a 3-month hike across the country. You may start your hike and find that this isn't what you want at all, and that's okay. Everyone hikes their own hike. The idea is you come back and you talk about how much you love doing this, and how much you loved being out there, you know, not necessarily forcing you through 90 days of misery, or 90 days of something that you don't truly really want. So have some flexibility. The Appalachian Trail is worth doing on any level, from day hiker to overnighter to section hiker to thru hiker and beyond. So I wish you luck on your trip, and as always, if you have any questions, I would love to answer them and help out. Thank you guys for watching.